I'm curious if you have a different feeling since the election, or has anything changed?
Okay, so you voted for him, but the question is, are you still supporting him? Did he turn out to be everything you hoped?
Because we're a pretty divided country. I mean, there's a huge abyss between Trump supporters and Clinton supporters and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure we can close that abyss.
But every time I vote for what I think is the person who can best serve the whole country. Part of my frustration was, that's how I voted. So how can people who I perceive to have less than me not vote for their own best interest? But I don't want to get back into the politics.
And I was so bewildered. I live in this political bubble, this liberal bubble. I was so bewildered that so much of America thought Trump was a good idea that I needed to come and better understand, and I needed to not let you be made into the other for me or me be made into the other for you.
You know, that I thought the folks from Kentucky were in a very difficult position, and that I didn't understand why they weren't angrier at what had happened to them, at the treatment from the coal companies and the advantage that had been taken of them, of their environment. Granted, it provided a living, but it also took an awful lot.
So my wish for you was that you can start thinking of another kind of future besides a coal future, because it's not a happy one. It wasn't a happy past, and it won't be a happy future.
For a long time, I think people in Appalachia have been told how to think, how to feel, what we should do, and someone else can solve our problems.
I don't think everybody understands how coal miners like to mine coal. It's there's a sense of satisfaction putting the coal on the belt, it going out of that coal mine. You've accomplished something. You've undertaken a really difficult job.
I felt like I would be betraying my people. I know it's kind of cliche to say my people, but they are my people. Everyone had stopped sinking money into the coal business before the election because they were in fear that Hillary Clinton was going to be elected and that they would waste their money. And the next day after the election, everyone who had a dime that could sink it into the coal business went all in.
And I wondered what was the intent of the Massachusetts people? Were they going to look down on us and try to bring us up by the hair of the head? Or were we going to, they were just going to do a study of eastern Kentucky and rural Appalachia and come away with another study. You know, we have been studied since 1964. Yeah. Every person that walked through Whitesburg and drank a cup of coffee went away with the idea that they were experts on Appalachia.
I don't know how many people are in here voted for Trump, but I know I'm for him all the way.
And that's what I want to hear, I want to hear why. What am I missing?
Because I think he's for the better good of the country.
Well, first of all, where I live in the upper Pioneer Valley in Massachusetts, it's we often refer to it as a bubble. It's protected. There's this invisible bubble that protects us from the outside world. And living in that bubble, I think, also makes us feel superior to others. Why are these people so marginalized? Why are they in such desperate straits? What's happened to them?
Talk about tears. I could cry a river over how hard that we have struggled. And it's not just me. It's been Neil. It's been Letha. It's been all of us. How hard Velda, for instance. I know how hard Velda lived. We did those kind of things. And I could cry a river over my hardships, but I'm above it. I'm above it. And what I'm afraid of is that I'm 76 years old and I'm not going to see the progress that you folks have seen from Levitt. I'm going to miss that as a human being because I was born in a place that is deprived and oppressed.
It's a very good place to take a moment. Just take a moment and let's just let that sink. Let this just take a moment. We need a moment. Just slow down a minute. Hands popping up fast. Thank you for that, Kendall. And Susan and everybody else.
I didn't come here to study you, and I don't think any of us did. We came here to experience Appalachia, and we are all richer for this experience that we've had.
Just being with you, just sitting in your presence, watching you be with each other, how you are with me, I feel I know you, and I don't feel that I need to have questions about your opinions answered. I just am getting to know you more and more deeply. And I have not wanted to ask Velda anything. I'm getting to know, she has opened her house to me. She feeds me in the morning. We drive around. I see her relating as she sees people she knows in the community. I feel I know her.
You know, I'm really happy to know all you all, and I'm really thankful for the conversation that Kip and I had, and it was a knockdown drag out, and I got pretty heated. I didn't pull a gun on him, but I did want to hit him. Just kidding, Kip, but maybe I'm just kidding, but I was glad for that conversation. Because I think these conversations about class and about gun control and about all these controversial things are so valuable for us to have and to hear the other side of the argument.
Having hard conversations in a civil manner is a success in this country, and the more we can evangelize, if you will, the basic civil discourse, irrespective of policy outcomes or preferences, that when we can sit down and have a conversation civilly, that's huge. And when we can do it and get this close together emotionally, that's just icing on the cake to me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for that.
There's so much work, political work, that is not, I will call it political work, that is not activism, that is not partisanship, that is not pro or anti, but is no less pointed and potentially powerful because of it.
We all need belonging, and we all need self-development. And sometimes they don't work in the same place at the same time. And so I learned a lot about that listening to you, because in that way your lives are quite different from the lives of many of us in this circle in terms of where our parents are, where our children are, what we expect from our family, and what we expect from our friendship network, which is a different kind of a family, and building on that. And those were really important for me. It's this human heart that connects us and connects our longing and connects our sense of care for each other everywhere. So I relearned that with this group.
I've met you people, and I'm beginning to respect you and care for you, each one of you, and I don't believe that if something happened to me in your presence, a bad thing or something, that you wouldn't try to help. And that's what we're about. We try to help each other. That's what Americans do. We pull together. We might pull apart for a while, but when something really comes down to threaten us in a way that, individually we can't do anything about it, we will pull together.
it is worth it. I mean, it is worth it. And we have built this over the last year where we are right now in our intimacy and our honesty. And yes, it's very much worth it. I can feel it in my heart.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fear